So now let's have a look at this comprehensive example. So if you understand this comprehensive example and follow me exactly, so this means I'm sure you will be fine with double entry booking system. So you are to write up the following in the box September 2020. Right, let's start. The 1st of September, start business with £500 cash. Remember, there are two sides and two accounts involved. Most of the time there are two accounts, but of course there are some transactions have more than two accounts. Let's start here. If we say start a business, in this case you need to identify the two accounts, and the two accounts are the if you remember the cash, you need to open T account for cash, debit and credit. So, and the cash should be recorded on the debit side. Why on the debit side? Because it's money in, because as assets goes up, isn't it? £500. And if you open another T account, should be capital, isn't it? Why capital? Because this is, we did say the first one is to what? The first transaction is involving capital because you deposited into the business account. So if you go capital, you will see that should be recorded on the credit side. If you remember, all the time capital should be recorded on the credit side. Now the question you need to ask me, okay, why did you write cash beside 500 here, and why did you write capital beside here? This is as a reference, right? Remember, at the end of September, when you look at the cash book, you will see many transactions. So how do you distinguish this one from where? So the reference. So if you look at the cash book, you see, okay, yeah, we have £500 money in to our cash book. Great. From where? Oh, that's from capital. This means from the capital account. Same with the capital. Our capital goes up by £500. Great. How did we raise the money? We raise it by cash. Again, this is the way you need to do it. This is the first transaction. The second transaction, 3rd of September, bought goods for cash. For cash. Remember this. And we did say goods, it's purchases. Remember this. In this case, you identify the two accounts, purchases and cash. So you need to open T account for both of them. Do you need to open T account for cash? Another new account? No, you don't need to. Basically, you need to add the one you just opened right now, this one. So what happened in our cash? Our cash goes down. Why it goes down? Because we bought goods, isn't it? So that should be in the credit side because it's money out. And we write beside it purchases. Why? Because our cash goes down. Why our cash goes down? Because of purchases, because we bought goods on cash basis. So but the account you need to open now is the purchases account. And you remember, purchases should be recorded on the debit side if you go back to the debit and credit rules. And you need to write beside it 85 cash. Why? Because that means our purchase goes up by £85. So because how did we pay for our purchases? By cash. The third one, or the third transaction, or on 7th of September, what happened? We bought goods, okay, but now on a credit, £116 from Tesco. In this case, you need to identify the two accounts here. When the transaction does tell you goods, bought goods, this means purchases is involved. But the question, how about the other account? So for purchases, again, you don't need to open a new one. You've already opened the one. So what you need to do, you just need to add. And if you mentioned all purchases are recorded on the debit side. Remember this. So what is the other account? The other account is Tesco. Why is Tesco? Because we bought goods from Tesco on credit. Yeah? Can you see? Look here. Look. On credit. This means you haven't paid cash to Tesco. Right? You are debtor to Tesco. Yeah? In this case, if you remember the term we need to use is a trade what? Trade receivable is a trade, what is it? Sorry, a trade creditor, because trade payable, sorry, trade payable. Yeah, look here guys, look, Tesco our creditor, yeah, because you bought, because if you remember, bought something on a credit is it's a trade payable, but sales are made on a credit is a trade receivables. Can you see here? And if you remember, we did say that trade payable or creditor is what is should be recorded on the credit side. Why? If you remember, because of its liability, because it's current liability. So we record on the credit side £116, and we wrote beside it purchases. So if you look here, you will see Tesco is our creditor, trade payable, and we owe them £116 because in the debit side. Why did we owe them £116? Because of purchases. Okay. On 10th of September, what happened? Sold goods for cash. Sold goods. If you say sold goods, this means sales is involved. So you need to open T account for sales. For cash, this means money in, cash is there. So you don't need to open a T account for cash because you already opened one, isn't it? Like this. What you need to do, you need to add the cash side, and the cash side is money in. And the money in should be on the debit side. So £42 at the debit side, our cash goes up by £42. Why? Because of sales. And that's why you need to open T account for sales. If you remember and go back to the rules, you do remember that we did say that sales should be recorded on the credit side, which is opposite of purchases. If you see our sales goes up by £42, how did we sell? By cash or by credit? Cash. In this case, we wrote cash beside it. Focus on this, please. Focus on this, please. Now, as you see, on 7th of September, what happened? We bought goods on a credit from Tesco, £116. Do you remember this? So what happened? Purchases goes up by £116, and Tesco's on the credit side goes up by £116. So you owe Tesco £116. On 14th of September, right, what happened? Return goods to Tesco £28. So from £116 you bought from Tesco as a business, you returned £28 of them because it was out of date. Right? So what do you think in this case? What do you think? What's going to happen in this case? Right? Tell me. So if you look here, you need to open T account. You call it purchase return. Did you remember the two terms we explained, the purchase return and the sales return? And the purchase return, this is a purchase return. Why is a purchase return? Because as a business, you bought something and you return it to the supplier. Tesco, it's your supplier. And that's called the purchase return. And purchase return is opposite of purchases. Purchases should be recorded on the debit side. In this case, purchase return should be recorded on the credit side. And you need to write side it Tesco. Some students will ask me, okay, how about if we go back to the purchase, account and we can write it on the credit side. You can do this if you want. If you want to go back to the purchase account, you can write it on the debit side if you want. Of course, the second account would be the Tesco, the creditor, and you don't need to open one because it's already, there's one like this, isn't it? So we owe Tesco £116. True? But now we returned £28. In this case, we need to reduce this by £28 on the debit side. It's going to be reduced as a purchase return because liability decrease on the debit side. We decrease it. Yeah. So now let's go to 24th of September. What happened 24th of September? We sold goods to Asda, right? £55 on a credit. Remember, when you sold goods, remember sales is involved account, but you sold them on a credit. So sales are made on a credit. This means Asda is your debtor, is a trade receivables. Let's have a look. So sales, this is our sales. Okay, we have cash, we sold cash £42, but here our sales, we sold £55, but Asda. So what does it mean? This means we sold it on a credit. So we need to open T account for Asda. Asda is your debtor. Yeah, it's your debtor. Asda, trade receivables. It's an asset. An asset goes up on the debit side, right? Because Asda owes you £55. Why Asda owes you £55? Because of sales. Because of sales. If you look at the three transactions, the 7th of September, when you bought goods on credit from Tesco, 116, and then on 14th you returned £28, but now on 25th you paid Tesco's the account by cash. Let's have a look. What happened in your cash? Down on the credit side, isn't it? £85 on the credit side. Why your cash goes down? Because you paid the outstanding amount. Yeah. So now that's £88, sorry. So what happened in Tesco's account? Let's have a look at Tesco's account. That's Tesco, your creditor. Remember this. This is the account we have so far. Yeah. Remember the first one on the credit side, which is £116, which the one you bought from Tesco as a supplier, and then you returned the £28, return purchase return, you returned goods, and that return should be on the credit side because it's reduced liability. But now what happened? You paid back, or you paid the outstanding amount to Tesco, £88. In this case, what happened in £88 should be reduced the creditor account on the credit side. Yeah. And the last transaction, okay, if you look at on 24th of September, what happened? You sold goods to Asda £55 on a credit. So you sold goods, but you haven't received any cash. So this is why you opened trade receivables. But now what happened here on 31st of September, Asda paid us, or paid you the £55, the money Asda owes you. In this case, what you need to do, first of all, the cash book should be going up on the debit side, £55, as you see. Why? Because the money we received from Asda. That was the transaction. The debtor Asda, your trade receivable, that's £55 on the debit side. That's they owe us, or they owe you. But now they pay the money. In this case, we need to reduce the debtor account on the credit side. So assets decreased on the credit side by £55. How did we receive it from ASDA? We receive it by cash. So this is the first step. When it comes to the question, the first step, you need to open T account. And once you open a T account, so you need to record the transaction as a debit and a credit in this way. This is step 1. This is step 1. And this is the most difficult one. Step 2, after you record all the transaction and open T accounts for each account, what you need to do, you need to do the balancing of the accounts. You need to balance of the accounts. So how to balance of the account as a step 2? There are 3 steps you need to follow. The first step, add up both sides of the T account. Yeah? So you need to add up both sides of the T accounts. The second step is you need to take the larger as the total. You need to take the larger. Which side is the larger? You take it as a total. And the third step, you need to put in the difference as the balance carried forward, CF, on the smaller side. On the smaller side. Okay? Sounds confusing? Maybe? Let's look it at practice. So, okay, yeah, there's another 4th step, which is, of course, the difference would as the balance brought forward on the opposite side. So this is the last step, which you need to write the balance would be on the other side at the bottom. Right, let's have a look and you will see how we can apply these 4 steps. First, come on, let's have a look. The first one we look at is the cash book. This is the cash book after you recorded all the transactions. This is what it looks like. So let's have a look now. First step, you take the add up both sides. So when we add up both sides, and you take the larger side. If we add up the both sides, if you look at the left side, 500 plus 42 plus 55, that's 597. Yeah? But now if you look at the right side, you will see that the left side is what? Is larger than the right side. In this case, as a step 2 tells you, you need to take the larger side. And the larger side, of course, is the left side, not the right side, yeah? So this is the first 2 steps. You need to close the account as this, 597 on the left side and 597 on the right side. This is the way you need to close the account. This is the first 2 steps. The third step is, in order, as you see, the 2 sides are not balanced. Yeah? Are not balanced. The 2 sides are not balanced. How much difference you need to put on the right side in order to make the 2 sides balance? Of course, you need to add the difference, which is £424, and that's why you call it CF, carried forward. And some question you will find it as CD, carried down. It's fine, either CF or CD, it doesn't matter. And this is a step 3. You take the difference and you put it in the smaller side. And the last step, which is step 4, what you need to do, the £424, right? You take it and you put it on the opposite account. Sorry, not the opposite account, the opposite side on the debit side underneath here. £424, and you call it BF, brought forward, or again sometimes you can see it as a BD, brought down. This is the way how you balance of the account. Very simple. 4 steps you need to follow. Very simple and easy. So the final figure is £424. This is the figure. You should transfer it to something called trial balance, and that should be on the debit side. Capital, again, you just follow the same steps. Take the larger, of course, the larger on the debit side, 500, you close by 500, the difference 500 on the credit side, and you then, step 4, you move it on the debit side. Easy. Purchases, again, of course, you close it with the larger side on the debit side, the difference you took it on the credit side, and step 4, you move it on the debit side. Purchase return, same. Sales, same. Tesco. If you look at Tesco here, right, what you can see here, that the two sides is what? Is equal, right? In this case, that's it, nothing to do, right? Just close them, that's it. Nothing to do, yeah? Same with here, Asda. 55, 55, just close them, nothing to do. There is no carried forward or brought forward. Okay? Yeah, so the third step and the final step here, you need to prepare the trial balance. Very, very simple. It just only, you just copy and paste the numbers in the trial balance. That's it. So let's have a look. What you need to do with trial balance, you just, all the accounts you opened here, you just need to transfer them in the trial balance like this. Very, very simple, easy, straightforward. Yeah, it's just a summary of the account. So all the accounts here you opened, you just put them down, and you just you write the final figure as debit and credit as step 4. And remember, the only way you need to know if your answers are right or wrong, so the trial balance should be equal. What does that mean? So debit side should equal credit side. So this is a double entry booking system. The first step, as I mentioned, we need to open T account and record all the transactions. The second step, you need to balance off the account, and the third step, you need to prepare the trial balance. I know, guys, it's a bit confusing. I understand how much challenging the lecture is, and this is one of the areas a student don't like. But again, I mentioned and I stress again, the only way to understand booking system double entry is the practice. You need to see a lot of questions and practice them. Practice them. Even myself, when I started learning this in the university, I got confused. But when you read, you look at the question, you look at the answers, you memorize the rules, debit and credit rules, you should be able to do it. Trust me, you should be able to do it. Any question, please just email me and I'll be happy to reply to you. Right, okie dokie. So otherwise, I wish you have a lovely week. Keep your smile, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.